Okay, this is the second installment of me speaking while picking a lock. Today's lock is the JPM Surf. As you can see from the key, it is a normal twin style lock. It has 6 main pins and 5 side pins. We're going to talk more about this lock a little bit in a moment. So, originally, I did that experimental video of me speaking while picking a lock. That was the last video, and I really did not have any more extended plans to continue on this, but actually got some pretty decent feedback that it was pretty nice to hear. Although I made some minor mistakes, like my original plan was to speak while picking, and after I was done picking, cutting the lock, I was trying to explain both the lock and some general tips to picking that lock, but as I normally do, I forgot like a dumb idiot, and I did not give any tips on that video, so that's on me, but still me speaking while picking had a pretty good feedback on my multiple friends, so I think I will try it one more time this time. So this is the JPM Surf. This is a double Euro, but it has a thumb turn on the back, as you can see. So this side is kind of useless. So only this side is pinned up. We're going to pick that. Now let's look at the key. The key is pretty much resembles a twin style dual mechanism lock with bittings on the top and side bittings on this side. The tops are just normal. There are 6 barrel type pins and the core is milled for the barrels. Now the interesting part is this side pins. If you can see a little bit closer, let me try to get focus. Oh, whoops, wrong focus. This is hard. Okay, uh, there we go. Let me lock focus real quick. Okay. Now, as you can see, the side pin bitting is a little bit interesting. It's not milled for only 5. In fact, if you can see closer, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 grooves. So does that mean this has 10 side pins like the DP4400? No, this is actually designed to be mastered a little bit more easily without changing a lot of pinning or the key. So these side pins are actually, the side pin chambers are all on the same place like all normal other dual mechanisms locks between the chambers 1 through 6, so there are 5 in total, but the nub, which is the part that interacts with the key, the side pin nubs are not centered. They are either on this orientation, they're on either on the frontal side or the rear side. They are tilted to one side. So on these either two, this chamber, the nub can either interact with this or this depending on the shape of the side pin. The tricky part about this is that if you have a side pin that is one on the rear and other on the front side, the nubs are going to be very close to each other, which makes it pretty difficult to touch only one and not the other. And because of the random nature of 5 side pins, you're almost certainly guaranteed to have at least one of those pairs that are very close to each other. So that makes this lock a little bit more challenging than normal side pin locks. Other than that, there isn't really much to talk about this lock. Now, normally I would pick a lock and then gut and show you the guts to explain more, but for obvious reasons, I'm not going to gut this because it's going to be a pain in the ass. This is also a loaned lock. This is not my lock, but the owner of this lock did tell me that I can cut it in half, which is going to make a whole lot easier job to gutting it, since this thumb turn is basically useless. This is crap. We don't need this. But long story short, I tried to cut it and I failed. So last time I cut a double euro, the body was very cheap Chinese bronze, or no, I mean brass, and I was easily able to cut it through the screw hole using a needle file. I filed it away. So it's not even cutting, it's actually filing away until I break the two apart. But this is way harder than that, and I used my tools but I ended up giving up because I did not even scratch a little bit on the screw hole. So that's that. So sadly we are only going to pick it, but what can I say? We just have to work with what we have. So, as with most twin style keyways, this is pretty much straightforward. The pick just can go straight from bottom to top, so we're going to use the trustworthy Pointy key. I think this is number three Pointy key, and a 40,000 top of the keyway turner. I tried both directions, and I think in my case, clockwise tension worked better on this specific lock. So we're going to go with that. This surprisingly binds the sidebar first. I believe this does isolates pretty well, but I had better chances when I worked on ping-ponging both between the main stack and the sidebar, so I'm going to do that. The side pins I'm going to use the multi-pick flag 10. This is just the perfect size and form factor for side pins that are on the left side of the bottom of the keyway. So let's begin. Now, because of how these side pins are shaped inside and the sidebar, these side pins tend to act pretty much tapered, so you really have to poke them quite a lot. Also, other thing to note is that these side pins do not start set. That means there are no zero lifts, so that's also something to keep in mind if you are planning to pick this lock. When I first picked this lock, I assumed that there were zero lift sliders in this lock, so that actually prevented me from opening it because I presumed that there were two zero lift sliders and I never even touched a single time, and that prevented me from opening the lock. Where did my flag go? Okay. In the beginning, I'm just poking side pins and main stack pins. It's also very easy to pick the wording, thinking that is the binding side pin, so that's also something that you need to be very careful of. I think this is. Wait a minute. As usual, as I pick, I most certainly like to stop talking because once I focus, I tend to be more quiet. This lock is, I'm not sure, but it feels old and a little bit gunky, so I tend to use very strong tension, and that really, really makes my finger hurt. This is number three. Is it set? I am not sure. Tricky, very tricky. Hmm. Fuel set. This is one fuel set, two set, three. Not sure. This is a min lift, as far as I know. I think I said it, but once you overset a slider, it's really hard to overcome. So I really tend to not do that. One, two. Is this three? I'm not sure. Two, three. I think three is set. Four. Feels. I think that's wording. I'll not risk it. Okay. One, two, three. Hmm. Top pins are not binding anymore. Definitely there's a side pin that I did not set properly, I think. One fuel set, two set, three. This is one of the min lifts. Four. I think this is wording. Four seems set. Five. Hmm. think I'm pretty sure like 1 or 2 click between me and setting the sidebar full. 1 feels pretty much set. 2 set. 3 I'll skip for now. 4 set. 5. I think 5 is set. I think 3 is not set, but I'm not sure. I might drop something while setting it. Which is not the end of the world, but kind of sucks to do. Let me try. One. That's two. Two being bind. Why is two being bind right now? Two set. 3 set. That's 4 set. I think we're done with the sidebar. Let's poke the main pins right now. I felt a bit of core rotation and I think I am 90% sure the side pins are all set. They feel all jiggly. I think 6 is binding. Let me. 1 is also binding. Yeah, the side pins, I think they are all set. Unless I am super careless, I think the side pins will stay set. 6 is definitely binding. Let me set that. Release tension a bit. Just a bit. Okay, that's definitely set. Seems set. 1, 2. 2 is binding. Wait, am I pushing up the wording or something? No, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoa, whoa. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 binding again. That's set. 1, 2, 3 seems like it's binding. Still binding. I think it's set. Four is binding. Click. 5 is binding. Click. 6 is binding again. I think I'm pretty close. Few barrels left. My assumption. 3, 4, 5. Oh, 6 is still binding. Okay. Or not. 1 is pretty much set. So is 2. So is 3. 4 is also set. Oh, 5. Okay. That's new. I think that's set. Let's do that again. 1, 2, 3. 3 is bound again. I'm not sure. Just in case, let's check the side pins again. 1 jiggly, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, they are pretty much set. Top stack is tricky. As always, I'm not really good at picking barrels. I can, I certainly can, but not in the most efficient way. 1's definitely set. So is 2. 3, I am not sure. Let's pass for now. 4. 4 is also not set. Okay, now it's set. 5. I think I just said 5. 1, 2, 3. I'll skip 3 for now. 3, I'm not sure. 4, 5, 6. Maybe 3 is binding. Let me risk. Okay, that's set. It was pretty easy. I think it was on the overmilling. 3, 4, 5, 6 is binding hard. Think it's set. 2, 3, 4. I think I just dropped something. 1's fine. 2, 3, 4. That was 5, 6. Okay, damn. Whew, that was like 4, 5, 6 key ping ponging on the barrel, but okay, that is finally open. Damn, that was hard. Uh, since we can't cut this, I'm just going to give some general tips, I say, on the specific lock and barrels and dual mechanism type locks in general. So generally in these types of dual mechanisms locks, there is a tensioning direction that usually isolates the two main mechanisms pretty well, decently. So in my case, counterclockwise tension was kind of not clear feedback on either of the mechanisms. The main pins were not really binding well, the side pins were not binding really well. Clockwise was better, so if you're picking these types of dual mechanism lock, make sure to try out both tensioning directions, counterclockwise, clockwise. There will be a direction that has more clear feedback and favors better on you. On this specific lock, the JPM Surf, this is kind of like the Baltic. The Baltic, the last video, had two fences on the sidebar. This one actually has three fences, if I could say that a fence, but it's like a large sidebar with many serrations, and the true gate of these side pins are very large. I don't know if that is the reason, but these side pins tend to act very tapered. They kind of love to get set and drop down one little gate, so you kind of have to nudge them. The feedback, however, is pretty clear. The side pins that are set are very, very jiggly. You can really feel the spring on it. The not set ones or the binding ones, they're really going to be rock hard. These don't really have deep false gates, so you just have to loosen up tension just a bit and push up to set the side pins on the correct gate. However, if you do happen to overset some, which is possible, if that happens, it's going to be really hard to like push down the overset side pins back to the original position. So I haven't tried, but I think you could try pushing them down, but I don't really recommend it. At that point, it's just better to reset the lock. Now, barrels. Barrels in general, you kind of pick them on two different phases. Phase one, you tension it pretty hard and it kind of acts like tapered pins. So you just poke all 6 stacks until you feel basically that a little bit of core rotation on some cases. The all 6 barrel drivers are going to be in the milling. So after that, you have to basically try to jiggle all the pins and test them. There is going to be a minor difference between a pin that is currently most bound and not. The most bound pin will feel rock solid hard. That is going to be very distinct. The other could feel binding, but that is not the pin that you want to touch right now. Try to find the most pin that is screaming to you that I am binding. The rock hard pins, find those and position your pick on the bottom of that stack and slowly release tension and keep like pushing them up so that you don't overshoot. So you can click and get out of the milling, crank tension up again, test all pins, find the binder, repeat that process until you finally get it open. If you have very good tension control, you will minimize dropping pins unlike I did right here, because I basically said 1, 2, 3, and I was ping ponging between 4, 5, 6, mostly 5 and 6. I think I dropped 5 like to the bottom when I said 4, so that was a little bit of extra work that could have been avoided, but whatever. It's open, so who's to judge? Okay, so that is the barrel tip, and general dual mechanism tip number 2, I think, is that if you happen to try either of the tension direction and still it doesn't really feel like they are going to isolate, it's okay. I just picked it without very clear isolation. You just have to think the side pins are also, they're basically just another stack of pins. They're not just a key pin driver combination. Just like you test the main stack, the 6 main stacks by the jiggle test, you basically have to do it this on the side pins too. So if they are not isolating, you just have to keep tensioning the lock and test the 6 stacks and 5 stacks. So you have to jiggle test 11 total stacks. But the basic process of all lock picking is basically you tension the lock, jiggle test, find the binder, lift, set that binder, tension again, test, repeat until the lock is open. So if you can open a dual mechanism like the V10 or the Acid Twin 6000, you definitely are going to open this no problem. This is basically the same thing. I believe this is same line as a Combi Plus or something. I'm not really sure. My memory is not good at these points, but they basically also have this weird 6-pin combination and that side pin, 5 side pins that has nubs on the rear and the front area. Is there anything that I can speak more? I talked about the log, I talked about general test, I opened it, I can't get it, so I think that is everything that I covered. The lock took a little bit longer than I expected to open, so I may have talked too much, but I hope the gibberish that I spoke about 30 minutes was pretty helpful. I don't remember I mentioned this. I think I did, but the side pins in this log, they do not start on the set position if they are the lowest cut. Even the lowest cut needs a slight one push up because they start at the false gate, so you have to be careful about that. There is no true zero lift side pins in this log. I also don't think there is no true zero main pins also because of how the core and the pins are basically aligned and the dimensions and stuff, so you can also keep that in mind. Funny thing is that the actuator is not actuated because there is a little spring-loaded pin thingy that has to be pushed in using a key, so technically I think I can like push it in and try to do that. I didn't try that actually. I can feel this. Oh, there we go. Okay, now the actuator is caught on the cylinder, so if I rotate it, I think it's going to spin. Or not. Oh wait. No, I'm dumb. I have to be keep pushing on this and rotate. So let's try. This is just me goofing around, basically. Let's look at the tensioner. I mean the actuator. Or not. I swear I'm hearing a click that is like catching the actuator, the cam or something, but I'm not sure. It works with the key, but who knows? I never really got at this mechanism, so I'm not sure. Anyways, that is the JPM Surf pick. See, now it works fine with the key. I have no idea why it doesn't. There is definitely a way to pick the lock and turn the actuator, but that's not really lock picking related, and I don't know anything about it, so yeah, okay. I think that is it.